how do they set a reading comprehension question? Every time that happens right in reading comprehension, you read the question, you have these 4 answer choices, you eliminated 2, and then you are stuck between 2 answer choices and we are confused. And one of the things that frustrates us a lot is that whatever we try to do, we always get confused between 2 options. We tend to believe that there are these 2 options which are close, and one of them I'm not able to decide. Even after looking at explanatory answers, sometimes people still not convinced as to why some answer is right and some answer is wrong. And in this video lesson, we're going to handle it head on. We will look at how they create a wrong answer choice. Now, if you look at a question setter, our reading comprehension question for the matter has got these 3 components. Component number 1 is a passage. Component number 2 is a question stem or the question, and component number 3 are these answer choices or options. Now, component number 1 is written by someone else. So there is I don't know, let me call that person author, who kind of created the passage. All our question setter is doing, so let's call him the I don't know why I've put him as an evil guy, it's okay. All the question setter is doing, so pick the passage, and this is his job, and to create the question, that's what he does. And we are the poor soul, we are the test takers trying to break his logic, okay, trying to figure out which of the answer choices are right or wrong. Now, when you think, how does this gentleman create a question? The first thing, he wants to create a question stem. So he could ask a question, what is the main idea, or which of the following author agrees with, or take a specific details and create a question stem. Once he creates the question stem, the first thing that he thinks is, let me create a correct answer. Okay, I believe that this is the right answer. And then the biggest job that he has is to now create these wrong ones. And when he creates a wrong one, he is always thinking about us. You're always thinking and saying, I want to trap that guy. I'm going to trap the test taker. I want to trap you, kind of a thing. And it is important for us to understand how these wrong answer choices are created. If I know that how, is there any technique in which I create a wrong answer choice? If I know that, then maybe, just maybe, it will help me do reading comprehension better. That's what we're going to do. Now, there is a pre-session test you are supposed to take before attending this class. I hope there was this one short passage which you solved, and I hope that you have the answer. The answer is not mentioned there. I'm going to reveal the answer to that question. This is the question on the screen. Answer to that question is answer choice number D. Did you get it right? I don't know. If you marked A, B or C, and those are wrong. Okay, we'll try and find out why A, B, C are wrong. Now, we obviously need to understand why D is correct, but we also need to find out why A, B, C, D is wrong. That's what we'll try to do. Right, now, okay, there is a statement that I mentioned here. Jijo has been teaching for the last 20 years. True statement, by the way. Okay, by the way, I'm Jijo, just in case you forgot. So let's say that if I have an answer choice which is a right answer choice, let's create a true statement. And you would say the true statement is something that is Jijo's teaching experience is greater than 5 years. Oh, that's a true statement. It's very clearly said that Jijo's teaching for the last 20 years, so teaching experience definitely greater than 5 years. That's a true statement. Let me create a false statement, something that is not true. So let's say that Jijo's teaching experience is less than 2 years. You would say, that's false, because that directly contradicts. Now, please do understand, something that is not true is not necessarily false. Let me create a third statement. Let me probably pick another color. Let me pick a blue color. Okay. Let's say that Jijo is married. Let's take that. From here, can you infer that? No. Now, what do you call this fellow? In maths, I think that we call this cannot be determined. So there is this one more thing called uncertain. Things that are not certain. we just call it uncertain. Please understand, your wrong answer choices is not only those things that are false, your wrong answer choices are also those things that are uncertain, where I don't have enough information to say or to say something for certain. Your right answer choice is something that must be true. When I say something that is true, what I'm saying is that it must be something that is 100% true. Now, 100% true should be based on the passage. Let's just read this passage a bit. Okay. In the subsequent lesson, we will look at how to read effectively. But at this point in time, let's just read and understand what the passage is trying to tell us. Right. It says, I have often had an occasion to remark the fortitude with which women sustain the most overwhelming reverses of fortune. Now, the context here is reverses of fortune. That's the context, the discussion, the context, the reverse of fortune. And this talks about women sustaining that overwhelming reverse of fortune. And then goes on to say, those disasters which break down the spirit of a man. Now, it's also saying men break down. So, what we know is that the context of the discussion is that there are these misfortune or reversal of fortune. In the misfortune, you know that there is women, they sustain, and men break down, or let's say that do not sustain. Let's call that, okay. And if you look at the next part, it says, and prostrate him in the dust. Prostrate in the dust is very similar as men not sustaining, okay. So it says, seems to call forth all the energies of the softer sex and gives such intrepidity and elevation to their character that at times it approaches to sublimity. So this part seems to call forth all energies. So this is simply saying that women sustain. So far from an information point of view, what is given is women sustain, men do not sustain during misfortune. Then it goes on to say, nothing can be more touching than to behold a soft and tender female who had been all weakness and dependence and alive to every trivial roughness while treading the prosperous paths of life. Okay. Suddenly rising in mental force to be the comforter and support of a husband under misfortune. Comfort and support of a husband's comforts and support the husband under misfortune. So these women comforts / supports their husband under misfortune. And now abiding with unshrinking firmness the bitter blast of adversity. Yeah, so this is basically the story is. The story is that in the context of misfortune, women support their husband. Women sustain, men do not sustain. And women support and comforts their husband. Right. Let's keep this in mind. Actually, what I'll do is I'll write this on top here. So what we said that during misfortune, women sustain. I hope you can read what I'm writing. Men do not sustain. And we said women comforts / supports their husband. Okay, that's basically the story. Now I have these 5 statements. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 actually 16. So let's look at whether this is true, whether this is false, whether this is uncertain, based on whatever the information that we have here. Right? True, if it's 100% true. False, if it contradicts what is mentioned, and uncertain if we have not enough information at all. So let's go statement by statement. The first statement says, women do not support their husband during times of misfortune. How can we say that? I am sure that you and I would agree. How can you say that women do not support when it is very clearly mentioned that women support? This particular statement is definitely false. These false statements are actually very easy to pick. If something contradicts, very easy to pick. The question setter does not want to give you options like this. This option is like one option where they say, this is definitely not the right answer choice. The question setter will not. He can give, but usually avoids giving answer choices, wrong answer choice which you can easily pick. They do something else. Let's look at statement number 2. Now the statement number 2 there states, women support their husband. What do you think of this? And I'm sure you're almost thinking, maybe true, it's mentioned. Please understand this context here. The context of discussion is a context of misfortune. Please imagine like this, all the situation that could have happened, the whole discussion is about the situation of misfortune. And when you say women support their husband, That is kind of making a general statement. What if husband cheat? Will the woman support the husband? What if the husband decided that he wants to go to Thailand on his own? Will the women support the husband? I don't know. So you have this one which says women supporting the husband. This particular answer choice, ladies and gentlemen, is not true. It is not true because all we know from the passage is the context of misfortune, and the context is important. What this answer choice has done is that it has taken the context and made it a little broad. And therefore, this answer choice is an answer choice which is uncertain. Yes. And look at number 3. No man can sustain reverse of fortune, not even a single man. Oops, isn't that a little extreme? Yeah. So remember the passage. The passage I think starts by saying, I have often had an occasion to mark the fortitude. This is too extreme. And usually extreme choices you can say is uncertain. I don't know for sure. Okay. So this is not, this is also an uncertain answer choice. When you see things like most, best, things like that, extreme position, should, must, something that is definitive, always, never, these kind of words, very, very forceful, very negative, or strongest, weakest, and so on and so forth. And these are usually not the right answer choice. But mind you, if the author has taken a position, extreme position, if the author has taken a position that every human being is idiot, if the author has taken such a position, then yes, then I can draw that inference. But usually, in almost all the passages, they don't take the position. So whenever you see these words like most, best, should, must, always, never, immediately raise a red flag, which means that on all probability will not be the right answer choice. In this case, this is an uncertain answer choice. Right. So we have something that is extreme. Let's look at statement number 4. Women often, oh, that's a good word. Now that's a good word. That's a good word. Women often they support their family during times of misfortune. So we have the context. Women often, so all that context is there. The problem is this word family. What we know here is women supporting their husband. Now family is different from husband. Husband is a part of a family, but family may have other members. We have no clue about what happened to other members. So ladies and gentlemen, this is an alien to the whole discussion, not mentioned. Because it is alien to the discussion, it is uncertain, right? Now you might be thinking it's probably true, but we want something that is definitely true, something that is 100% certain. This is not 100% certain. The passage does not give information about family. The passage just gives information about women supporting their husband. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, this answer choice is something that is uncertain. And let's look at statement number 5. Today's women support their husband during times of misfortune. Okay, we have that women, which is good, supporting their husband during times of misfortune. And you say that, where did this come from? Today's women, good women. Where did that come from? So that is taking the whole narrowing the context that is given. Today's women, Western women, Indian women, not mentioned. This is also uncertain. And you have the 6th one. Husband should be thankful to his wife during times of misfortune. And you might be feeling that he should be thankful. The author has not said what the husband should or should not do. If you actually think about author's attitude towards women in this passage, it's positive, right? Author's attitude towards women in this passage, you can probably think of an emoji which says that he's pretty positive. That's what his attitude was. Author's attitude towards men is actually pretty neutral. Pretty neutral attitude towards men. He did not swear at them. He did not say that, what are you doing, lying down on the floor. Nothing like that. He's pretty neutral. He did not make any value judgment here. And this whole thing is a mismatch of the tone of the passage. The author never suggested any of these things, right? This is also uncertain. So what you see here is, if we can look at this and say that the wrong answer choices are usually, or the uncertain answer choices are things that are broad, the things alien choices, not mentioned, narrow choices, and extreme choices. And you can think of this as bane. There are only few things that the question setter can do to create a wrong answer choice. Few things. And usually it revolves around this. That's it. Now let's go back and look at the passage and see which one is the wrong answer choice, and more importantly, why is the wrong answer choice. And we have to kind of remember this particular part, right? During misfortune, women sustain, men do not sustain, and the women comfort and support the husband during that time. Now, the question is asking about the main idea, right? The first thing is the fact that I have to look at a statement that is true. That's my most important thing. The answer choice must be true. What you have to do now is, whenever you look at a question, there are 3 questions which are wrong and 1 question which is right. So the probability of a question becoming right is 1/4, and probability of a question that is wrong is actually 3/4. So it is more likely that the answer choice, why am I saying question, option, sorry, more likely that option is wrong than is right. So what you want to do whenever you read any answer choice, what you actually want to do is assume it is wrong, okay, or find the flaw. Don't select, look to eliminate. And if you feel that there is no flaw in the answer choice, you keep it on hold, right? That's all you do. Okay, let's look at this answer choice here. And what I actually want to do when I evaluate answer choices, I want to break this part. So let's say women are courageous in times of fortune and misfortune, weak in times of fortune. So you have part 1, part 2 and part 3, and evaluate this thing. Obviously, I'm not asking you to draw this line and evaluate. I'm just saying that look at this in small part and evaluate. Women are courageous in times of fortune and weak in times of misfortune. Did the author discuss this? No, this is not what the discussion of the passage is. Completely alien to the whole discussion. That women is courageous in times of fortune and weak in times of misfortune. Not right. So let's look at the second part. The author believes that the weakest of the females can be the source of strength when the occasion calls for it. Okay, let's look at problems here. You suddenly see weakest. When you look at the word weakest, and you know that, ladies and gentlemen, is an extreme answer choice. You can eliminate that straight. How can you say it's weakest? A is eliminated. But actually there are more problems in that answer choice if you actually look at it. For example, one other problem in answer choice is to say that women can be the source of strength when the occasion calls for it. What occasion? The whole passage talks about misfortune as a context. Now this is very broad. Yeah, that's also another problem. You don't need, you just need one problem for it to be a problem answer choice. You don't need all the, you don't need 1 or 2, you just identify one and you say chuck it. There's actually one more problem there in that answer choice. This one talks about females can be the source of strength when the occasion calls for it. Now source of strength for whom? Yeah, for me, for you, for the president, for the prime minister. Source of strength for whom? The whole passage is very, very clear, is that it's a source of strength for the husband. That's broad, right? So anyway, that's this gone. So you have this one. The author is amazed that the character of a woman can be altered by her circumstances. I'm not too sure about this. Author is amazed, probably by the look of how he's written the passage. Maybe he's amazed, but definitely the problem is the word, the character. Women's character change. Is it a good word? I'm not too sure. Women's character changes. And he says women's character can be altered. Now that's another problem with that answer choice. Altered. What do you mean altered? Altered can be the direction. I can have a positive alteration. I can also have a negative alteration. That can go both sides, right? But the author was very clear. Author was kind of positive. Anyways case, but there is a very easy one to thing to look at, which is this says by her circumstances. Now we look at something that is mentioned here, which says by her circumstances. Ladies and gentlemen, that is too broad. The context is definitely based on, the context is a misfortune, by the way. So you eliminated ABC, answer is D. If you actually check D and break it down, you get everything. You see that, okay, when women often is a good word, provide support and strength to their spouses. Their spouses means their husband in times of misfortune. This statement is 100% true. Now you might be thinking, yeah, that's a main idea. This doesn't look like a main idea. This is like one part of the whole paragraph. I don't care. All I care for sure is A can't be the answer, B can't be the answer, C can't be the answer, D is true. If the answer choice D would have been the first answer choice, what I've done is, okay, I don't find any problem in this, I'll keep it on hold and I will evaluate the rest. That's what you do. So the learning, ladies and gentlemen, is that there are no such thing as a close answer choice. There are no close answer choice. Just because answer choice feels close does not mean it is close. You feeling it close does not mean it is close. There are no close answer choices. There is a right answer choice and there are wrong answer choice. And the key of identifying the wrong answer choice is your ability to deal with things that are uncertain. And I have given you a certain pointer. I said I given you the pointer of a Bain strategy, which is to say that either it can be broad, it can be alien, it can be narrow, and it can be extreme. And the third thing that you would look at is eliminate. Look to eliminate. Right. As we go and solve more and more questions, you keep using this simple technique to evaluate the answer choice. Okay. In the next lesson, let's pick up a cat question and see if this works. See you then.